Hi, I'm John McBride, and thank you for joining us on The Actor's View. Today, we look behind the masks. Today, I'm talking with Roberto Lombardi, one of the stars of Masks, the new film from Back2ninety9 Productions and writer-director Charles A. Christman III. Thanks for joining us today, Roberto. What was the first film you ever did?
The first film I was ever in, I was, as an extra, was in 1981. I was an extra in the John Travolta film Blowout. And I was on set, I think, for 2 days at the scenes in the train station. Then I didn't work again on a film for another couple of years. But that's the first real project that I was in. I was in student stuff before that. The first film that I was in where I was an actual character with lines, I had a supporting role in a comedy film called Bazookas the Movie, which I shot in 2006, in the fall-winter of 2006. It was shot at night from 10 in the morning to 10 at night to 6 in the morning, excuse me, and in this gym. And it's a comedy, and I played this janitor of the gym, and I'm like surly and foul-mouthed and screaming at people, and it brought me some attention. It was the first film I was in.
What has been your favorite role so far?
My favorite role that I've done, it'd be easier for me to list roles that I didn't like, but I'm not going to do that because it would be disrespectful to the directors that I work with, and they were all great. But for favorites for me, it's a toss-up between a couple of them. I've done a lot of work in fan films, as I said before, that I got to play Freddy Krueger in 2 fan films, and not only did they garner me a lot of attention, but it's just a character that I've loved since 1984. And when a director comes to you and says, I already have one really successful Freddy Krueger fan film and I want to do 2 sequels to it, or a prequel and a sequel to it, would you be interested in doing it? I was like, yeah. So you sit in the makeup for an hour and you go and do the film, and hopefully people like it, because when you play something that iconic, people can very easily trash you. And I was really expecting to be trashed. But, and I was a little bit, I'm not going to lie, I was. But for the most part, people were really, really positive about it, and it really helped me out career-wise. Original character-wise, I think my favorite, I have top 3 favorites. I loved playing this character, Quinn, in a short film I did called American Lawless. It was a futuristic Western, so I have like the leather hat and dressed in leathers and the guns and everything and the accent and everything, that type of thing. And the film did really well. It hit festivals and did okay. I liked playing Thomas Callan in Dead Collections, which is a film that just wrapped and is coming out in January of 2013. And I loved playing my character, Dr. Peter Hess, in this other film called Perfect, Android Rising, which is also going to be out next year, which I'm the lead in.
What is the scariest part of an audition?
The scariest part about auditioning for me, it's not learning the lines, it's not going in and doing the audition. I'm fine with all of that, and I understand the process and everything, and I've auditioned people myself, so I get it. What is scary to me is when you get called in for an audition and you get absolutely no direction whatsoever, what what the director or the casting director is looking for. So I might be coming in and playing this part all kind of cocky and aloof and, you know, and they're not looking for that. They're looking for the shy, you know, kind of introverted guy, and I'm playing it exact opposite. Now I have all the lines right and I'm doing it the way I think it should be done, but that's not what they're looking for. That worries me.
What show are you doing next?
In addition to the other films that I mentioned earlier that were favorites of mine that are coming out, I'm also going to be involved eventually as a recurring character on a television series called Brotherhood of Silver that's coming out also in January of 2013. I have 2 feature films I'm supposed to start in early 2013. One's called Random Acts of Violence, which is kind of a thriller. And the other one is called Evil's Lair, which is a horror, like a flat-out horror. As far as auditions go, I've submitted for quite a few things that I would like to go and audition for, but I don't have anything audition-wise coming up right now.
What 3 actors would you really want to work with?
Actors that I'd like to work with are probably not going to be the people that most people would think of. Yeah, I'd love to work with Robert De Niro, but I'm thinking more along the lines of I would like to work with Jason Fleming. I would like to work with Kevin Bacon. I would like to work with, wow, Donnie Wahlberg. Meryl Streep. There's a typical one right there. I'd love to work with her.
I'm going to follow that up with why.
The reason why I picked those 4 particular actors is when you see the 4 that I named and a lot more that I really love as well, when you see them in a film, they are not the same person in every film that they're in. When you go to see some actors, it's them in the film. When you go to see Jason Fleming, he doesn't look the same, he doesn't play the same, he doesn't act the same. He uses different accents. So does Kevin Bacon. So does Donnie Wahlberg. Donnie Wahlberg is a really good actor. Okay, changes his appearance, his weight, the way he talks, everything. And do I even have to mention Meryl Streep? I mean, the woman's just a chameleon in everything she does. And that's the kind of actor I want to be. I don't want anything to ever be a Roberto Lombardi film where I'm playing myself again, yet in another picture. I like being a character actor. I like being somebody else in a film. And those people do that so well that I'd probably be able to learn a lot from them if I worked with them.
Do you think you really understood what you were in for when you decided you wanted to be an actor?
I don't think any actor understands what they're getting into when they first start out in the business. I think that they understand that it's not going to be, oh, I want to be an actor. Let me call up on the phone. Hi, I want to be an actor. And then the next day, you are an A-lister. I don't think anybody thinks that. But I also don't think that a lot of actors understand the amount of work and sacrifice you have to go through to be in this business. You have to give up family functions, you have to give up vacations, you have to work long hours at a day job and then work your acting at night on the weekends and use your vacation time to act. And it doesn't happen overnight. I started acting when I was a teenager, okay? I didn't get any significant roles until 2006. Before that, now granted there was a time where I stopped acting and I ran around the country in rock bands touring, but when I came back to it, it took a while. It took a year for me to even get a role in a movie. And I don't think people understand, especially when you're in a category as an actor where there's a lot of. If you are a 20-something blonde female, you are up against some seriously stiff-ass competition to get roles in movies, and you better be on your game to get it. Even somebody like me, guy in his 40s, you know, being able to play different ages. There aren't a lot of guys in my age group, but the competition for the roles that are in my age group is fierce. And there's a lot of good actors in Philadelphia, let alone the rest of the country, that you're competing with. So yeah, you have to have a thick skin. People don't realize, I don't think they understand fully at all what you have to go through to be in this business. So I don't think anybody's prepared at all. You'll learn it as you go.
Why do you think so many aspiring actors end up giving up on their dream?
I think a lot of aspiring actors wind up giving up. Two-part answer. First part is almost what I said before, is the question about, do you think anybody really understands? No, I think the people that give up don't understand what they're getting into. I think they can't handle rejection, and you're going to hear the word no. And I tell a lot of actors this: you're going to hear no way more than you hear yes. They can't build the thick skin. I know so many actors that have moved to LA, moved to New York, they can't get a job. And not just an acting job, but they can't get a job. And they wind up moving back here. And you don't have to do that. If you're going to work in Hollywood, you don't have to live in Hollywood anymore. The business has changed. And I think where a lot of aspiring people really go wrong is not understanding the rejection and not having a thick skin. I've had a lot of actors call me and say, you get this movie and you get that movie and I can't even get an audition and I'm so upset. And I go, it's not, the first thing you have to realize, and I've said this before, is you have to self-assess yourself all the time. You have to look at yourself truthfully in the mirror and say, do I really have what it takes to do this? Everybody has some self-doubts, but you got to be honest and look at yourself. Do I need to improve? What am I doing wrong? Sometimes you're not doing anything wrong. Sometimes you're just not right for the movie. But I think a lot of people give up because it doesn't happen fast enough.
Do you think that an actor should have a fairly decent resume before going on to bigger media markets? Let me put that in layman's terms. Should an actor first conquer their small pond before heading to the Great Lakes of acting? Let's say Los Angeles, or New York City, Toronto, or Austin, Texas.
Yes, I think it's important for every actor to establish themselves somewhat in whatever field that they're, whether they're going into theater, stand-up, films, whatever, get in something. Even in school, in college, put the stuff that you've done in college on a resume, put a reel together, do all that stuff as soon as possible. Show any particular director that that you may work with, look, I've done something. If you're just going to go green from Philadelphia to LA, I really don't think anybody in LA, they're just not going to take a chance on you if you've done nothing. Whereas here, somebody's more likely to say, you know what, that guy went to Temple University, he majored in film, he has a secondary in acting. The stuff he did on his reel in college is pretty good. He's got stage presence. He's got some kind of camera presence as well. Something. But if you just go out there empty-handed with nothing, I just don't see it.
Is it hard for you to get into a role that you have nothing in common with?
No, it's not hard for me to make the transition from who I really am to playing my character in masks. It's not, for a couple of reasons. One being, in my youth, I did have my own drug experimentation phase, so I know what it's like to be on drugs. I don't know what it's like to be addicted to drugs, but I know what it's like to be on drugs. As far as also what I'm using to play this character is there are people in related to me now and people I've known in my past who are drug addicts, and I see how they act. I see all of this and the rubbing and I see how they act, and I know what I'm looking at from my day job in law enforcement. When I see somebody on drugs, I know what somebody looks like. So it's kind of easy, not that acting's easy because it's not, but I think I have a good basis to make the transition from who I really am to who this character is.
Roberto, thanks a lot. We've enjoyed having you here today. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on The Actor's View, Behind the Mask.